So guys, welcome back, and welcome back to another 100 days of video, and welcome back to the second of the behind the scenes in terms of how, leaving that one in, yes, a little behind the scenes how we actually record our travel vlogs. As the vlog starts, I'm already sort of linking back to maybe what we've been up to before, so I may have kept a little bit of footage from the previous week video. Obviously we left the dog sit last week, so throwing in a little bit of the dog sit footage as we came down out of the home. Bit of a dodgy drive, but as usual the GoPro messed up and hung, and so I wasn't able to capture some of the most interesting footage. And then as I continue to talk about arriving here in Albufeira, I'll probably just overlay another little bit of footage of us driving sort of towards Albufeira and getting into the campsite. Now obviously one of the first things that we'll probably do in this vlog is talk a little bit about where we're staying, the campsite. I'm okay recording in front of people, but of course we are in a public space, people are on holiday, people don't want to be kind of camera shoved in their face. So what I'll often do in that case is I'll record a little bit of B-roll, maybe in quieter periods of time, and then overlay my own sort of talking about the campsite, rather than walking around in the middle of the day and taking video of swimming pools and cafes and things like that. So probably better to, I feel it's better to maybe record that footage when it's a little bit quieter and then overlay it as you're actually talking about those locations. But yeah, this campsite itself has been fantastic, and we look forward to sharing our experience here, because we kind of don't want to leave. Now I'm really glad now that I recorded that footage last night. Not only is the light flat as a pancake, but of course the lady's now swimming in the pool, so it's obviously losing that whole sort of smooth effect. Last night the light was just illuminating these roof tiles just beautifully, and so I came up here and I just got a lovely sort of nice overview of the sort of the campsite and the swimming pool. So always good to try to capture your B-roll when the light is at its best. Even if you're not sure whether you're going to maybe use it, at least you've got it in the back pocket. If I had to wait it till today, now it is supposed to be sunny again later in the weekend, so it might pick up again, but at least I know I've got that in my back pocket now to use. So there was even some lovely light streaming in here, and so again, because we'll probably talk a little bit about the fact the campsite has got some, I'm leaving in all of my kind of audio troubles or fumbles as well, to show you how often we have to actually re-record these. We just talk rubbish to each other. If I hadn't have, I would have had a couple of choices: not include any footage, which sometimes happens, or include some dull drab footage like this. So always good to get out with a camera, capture all the B-roll, or as much B-roll as possible when the light is at its optimum. So anything that can add a splash of colour can actually really work really well as well, especially if you're doing some kind of walking scene where you maybe have your subject kind of walking past something. So rather than just having them walking down a dull street, you can maybe sort of pre-focus on the colourful flowers, and then have your subject kind of walk by. So anywhere where there's a flash of colour, maybe include some of that. And of course, even if it's just for B-roll, just having some of that footage, you may only use 2 or 3 seconds of it, but again, better to have it in the back pocket than not. So maybe when the light is slightly better, I might come back up and just get a little bit of the footage here, even if it's just a single frame of the flowers themselves. So colour's your friend. And again, not to completely beat this subject to death, but again, the light last night was phenomenal, and these palm trees were taking on some glorious, glorious tones. So once again, so glad that I made the effort to come out and just record little snippets of B-roll, because the light tonight is as flat as a pancake. Right, enough of this wandering around the campsite. Let's take you out into Albufeira itself. Let's just say all this YouTube recording makes a YouTuber very hungry. Some sort of cheesy chicken ball. Oh hell yeah. One of the things you're always dealing with is you start recording something and then there's lots of noise. On the main vlog we'll probably talk a little bit about the new town, the strip. So that's where we are right now. And so what I'll probably end up doing is I'll just capture some B-roll, just some sort of footage of some of the bars and some of the clubs and some of the sort of goings on. Obviously we're here in the middle of the day, so it's all a little bit more sedate than normal. But yeah, when I know I'm going to be sort of talking about something or an area, I'll look to capture 4 or 5 bits of B-roll from it, so I can overlay at least a couple of those onto the actual final vlog. So I've now brought ourselves in for a coffee. How old are we? We're on the strip, the famous Albufeira strip, and we're having 2 coffees. And of course, having a coffee or having anything to eat, you probably want to get a little bit of B-roll of those coffees coming in as well. So we'll capture some of that. And of course, doing this here, you're going to get some funny looks. You're going to get people laughing at you. Part of the course. Of course, helps if I turn the camera on. So guys, back at the campsite, and just wanted to speak about 2 more things that I pay attention to when recording. So when I'm doing a piece to camera, well, especially when I'm doing a piece to camera, I really want that light to be shining into our face, not backlit, not with the sun behind us. And that's even when I'm just creating some B-roll. It just makes things look far too washed out. Now, as I say, the GoPro and the iPhone deal with that a little bit better, but it still can look a little washed out. So where possible, I do try to capture, especially those pieces to camera, with the sun directly in our face. Now that can be problematic because of course sun directly in your face, you're always squinting, putting on glasses, it's not that sort of ideal. So sometimes if it is a really, really bright day, I'll maybe even come into an area where there's maybe some reflective light bouncing around just to give a nice even light across the whole frame, but certainly trying to avoid backlit, even though from a visual perspective, from your own perspective, that's the most comfortable to do because you're not squinting into the sun. It looks horrible on camera. So today the weather is quite windy, and that is creating quite a challenging environment to shoot in. So we have a lot of clear blue sky, but we've also got quite a few big white fluffy clouds, and so you quite often will dial in your exposure for your maybe piece to camera, and then all of a sudden that will either get darker because the sun has been hidden behind a cloud, or more problematic, it'll actually get brighter. Now once again, the X-T4 is challenged by that. It doesn't seem to, it takes a while for it to catch up. The GoPro is much better. So if I do see that it's going to be quite a challenging environment to shoot in, I will again try to bring myself into a more evenly lit place like this here, so the light as it passes by doesn't have such a dramatic effect. Nice little bit of raindrops. That little sweep from the right, from the raindrop sort of close in out to the actual sort of wider view of where we're staying, might actually work for a pass by of Nicola walking sort of through as well. So, and obviously because we now have a little bit of a sun, there's a little bit of a rainbow effect on the light as well. Rather nice. Again with the sun out, taking the opportunity to capture just some footage of the van in situ where we're parked up. Again, if I want to overlay as I talk through the video, I might want to overlay some different clips, some different angles of the van. So always good again to make the most of the better light, especially because the sun today is not supposed to last. There's actually a guy coming walking as well with a couple of dogs. Good to get a little bit of kind of interaction going through as well. So again, just piecing together the story of the vlog. We're walking into the old town, and you walk along this lovely path through a little sort of park. It's nice, but actually one of the nicest bits of it is this sort of covered walkway, which has got some fantastic murals. And so again, just making sure that I capture some of those. This is where the X-T4 comes into its own, because its low light performance is really good. And again, a nice blast of colour can sometimes work well when you have Nicola kind of just walking between the places. So again, just trying to capture those little snippets that help me tell the story of our day as we walk down into the old town. Now the light at the moment is absolutely beautiful, probably the best light we've had since we've been here, because it's what we call in the business storm light, because we do have a bit of a weather system moving in behind us, and so that light is illuminating the sort of the lovely sort of buildings in the cliff faces, but then you've got that lovely, rather than just a bland blue sky, you've got that lovely sort of foreboding clouds as well. So beautiful time to capture a little bit more B-roll. And yeah, the whole Nicola not really invested in this kind of stuff. Would have been great to get some more footage of her walking along here, but she's more interested in going to the cafe. So it's always good while you're by the coast to try to throw in a little bit of slow-mo footage of some waves. In this instance, I'll be recording it without any audio, but if I want to kind of put a little bit of wave movement in, there's plenty of those sound effects on places like Epidemic Sound. Again, not sponsored, but yeah, a little bit, especially where the light's like this, so a little bit of slow-mo footage of waves, always good to sort of break up from us leaving, having some coffee there, to the next scene. So what's working quite well here, some B-roll, is that lovely blue sky contrasted against the whitewashed buildings. And actually into another, there's your noise, here's some more noise, some more noise, more noise. This is a usual day out with the vlogging camera. There's the chance to maybe catch a gull flying kind of across frame, especially with that lovely sort of bright blue sky. And that actually makes for quite a nice shot. Again, a little sort of in between parts in the vlog. So I'll take a look out and see whether there's any sort of gulls flying around and see whether I can catch those as well. Not actually catch them, because that would be very cruel and also quite awkward to explain why there's a gull in the van to Nicola. Given the fact she's quite hungry, she might eat it. Well guys, we've had a pretty rainy morning this morning, being trapped in the van. This kind of has cleared through now. It is Saturday today. We're here for another couple of days, but it's going to be more of the same in terms of kind of capturing some B-roll. I think the weather is supposed to improve tomorrow and especially Monday and Tuesday. So hopefully capture a little bit more nice B-roll, maybe even get that old drone out. And I'm just again trying to sort of piece the story together. But hopefully this has again been useful, showing you sort of a bit of the thought process that goes in behind making one of our travel vlogs. Now in a few days time, I'll bring out a third one in this series, the third and final in this series, which is we'll look a little tiny bit into editing and mostly talk a little bit about what I think I could probably do better to actually improve the travel vlogs. And as always, interested to hear from you guys as well. But once again, thanks a lot for following along, and from the 100-day project, day, who knows, catch up tomorrow.